watch your wide receivers just kind of standing out there with their hands in their pockets. Like, I'm not part of this play. I'm not doing nothing. But it's those guys who are like, Kelvin, active and like they're in the play or they're running as hard as they possibly could, on a post or whatever. If you're active and you're involved in that offense as a catch and shoot guy like Caleb, everybody knows he can get by the first line of defense. Everybody knows he's trying to get to the rim if he's not shooting, 25 footers. So the more he shows that on film, the more defenders have to worry about that.
And I'll say this, to me, the biggest thing that he said he talked to them that they talked about was defense. I think that's where he can really improve. I'm gonna have to see it when I believe it.
Yeah.
The more catch and shoot.
He's shown signs like at times he's definitely shown the ability to do that. The question is buy in like 100%, Kelvin, like every play.
And I think if he really truly want an opportunity to play at the next level, that's just going to be his only choice is to really buy in and prove through the college season that he's a guy that can lock up and switch, play against bigger guys, multiple perimeter guys. He's going to have to prove that, get some steals with his steal. He should try to lead the team in steals. I know that's going to be tough with KJ Lewis around here.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Jay Bradley, too, got his hand in the cookie jar a few times. Yeah.
But you have to challenge yourself. You have to challenge. You went against those guys all summer preparing, so you have to challenge yourself and go for that. I think that's something he needs to go for the leading assist guy and steal guy on the team. I really, truly believe. Points are going to come. He's a guy that can score buckets. He has over 2,200, 2,300 points in college, so he's going to score. But to me, where he can really pick it up at and where he can take this team to another level, especially going into the Big 12 where there's guards on every team, is if he pick up and lock up. Because right now, on the perimeter, he's the weak link. Right now, I mean, am I wrong?
No.
I mean, with Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis.
KJ gets out of bed trying to lock dudes down.
Them monsters. So if you get him love playing at the same level, then it's lights out.
I'll tell you one thing he took seriously over the summer is conditioning because he looks he's in real good shape.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We're getting you set for the Wildcats and Canisius. We'll have our spotlight on a cat coming up straight ahead, Anthony Delorso, the Australian transfer from Campbell. Along with Calvin Efon and David, I'm David Kelly. That is your first look at tonight's game.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, a proud sponsor of Arizona Athletics since 1968. And this year, the Wildcats are driving into the Big 12. But we've been down this road before. From the WAC to the PAC, it's never been about the conference. It's always been about the Wildcats. And you can count on the Cats. And you can count on Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care for the very best deals on tires and award-winning auto care. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, we're here to get you there. Go Cats!
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
The top four, Steppen over to Del Orso, pretty good look at the three, and it's good.
Excellent screen from Carter Bryant. That's what freed up Del Orso on the right wing. Carter Bryant's screen.
Anthony Del Orso, he's 6'6", 190 pounds. He's a junior guard out of Melbourne, Australia, by way of Campbell University. Played the last 2 seasons down at Campbell. Second team All-CAA. Last year as a sophomore, he was the Big South Freshman of the Year. So they're a CAA then this year. So they were, I guess, Big South the year before, and then they went CAA. So
yeah, I think 23.
Second year.
23 was the year they moved.
Yeah, second year as CAA. Averaged 20 points a game last season. Did Anthony Del Orso. Also led Campbell in rebounds and steals as well. Scored 624 points, which was 6th most in Campbell history. Let's hear from the transfer guard on his path to Arizona. It was a very quick recruiting process to get him here from Campbell.
Tommy reached out to me pretty quickly and was like, "This is what we've got. This is our situation. This is what we value." I told him what I valued and stuff like that, and it was a perfect match. That's why he's probably said it was the quickest recruitment he's ever seen. But yeah, we kind of connected quickly. Him, Coach Murph, they called me directly, and we were up all hours of the night just talking about what I can do, what they need, all that kind of stuff, and what we can do to win. And yeah, I loved it. I had been here before, so I knew what it was like. So I was just sold from the minute that they called me.
When they talked about some of those values, what was attractive about that?
Yeah, I mean, player development's a big thing for me. It's the reason I came back to Campbell my second year, because that's something I believe that shouldn't go unnoticed in any place. And that's something here that I've noticed since being here the last probably 3 months, is that the amount we work out, the amount we lift, the amount coaches are always around wanting to, get us better. That's something that I've noticed in other places don't happen. And we've got a lot of guys from different places who have said at those old places that stuff doesn't happen normally. So that's something that I value, but also winning. Like that's something that I unfortunately haven't been a part of really, being at a mid-major level. My freshman year was successful, but I haven't made it to the tournament yet. So winning and play development are two things that I value the most. So that's something that they could sell me on that I was sold for.
So I think I heard you made it clear up front you were okay with coming off the bench if you had to, because you were the leading scorer there. I mean, is that true? And that seems like a big adjustment. Are you really okay with that?
I mean, there's a rumor that people think that starters are everything and benches are nothing, and that's not how it works. It's a team game, and as I've noticed, when you get to this level especially, it's like you need everyone to win, whether that's guys who are not playing at all, walk-ons, or starters. You need everyone, because it takes that in practice. It's like, we can't get better if we don't have everyone in practice, you know what I mean? So now to say that I'm okay with it, I don't know if anyone's okay with that. If you offer anyone in the world here you want to start, they're going to say yes. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm happy with it, but at the end of the day, we're all here to play, and we're all good enough to play, and we all need to play to win. There's not one person that can go on the floor and win it for us by themselves. This league's too good. The competition's too good. So you have to have at least however many guys off the bench and whoever to play good. So I think that's the misconception that guys are kind of getting, like, oh, is he happy with it? Is he not happy with it? Either way, I've got to play well for us to win. Other guys have to play well for us to win. It's not just me. It's not just Caleb. It's not just Trey. It's all of us.
Well, I just wonder, particularly because you seem like the kind of guy who could be in the portal. You're a leading scorer. You want to get to the NBA. You could be shopping only for places that are going to say, we'll give you X minutes, you're going to get the ball, and you're going to be our 3 guard or 2 guard or whatever. But that, I don't know, but you were a little more flexible from what you're saying if you were in the right situation, like here, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I was in the portal, I had almost every place, and I had a lot of places like that were like, here's the keys pretty much. But then, like, my goal is the NBA. That's what I've always dreamed of. So I just saw it as a place like, why would I can come here and I know I can get better, and I have the pieces around me that can help me get better. They can give me everything I need in order to get to that goal. So it doesn't really matter if I'm starting or if I'm coming off the bench playing 30 minutes. Either way, I'm playing 30 minutes. So it's like, if this is the best place that's going to develop me the best, well, that's where I want to go.
When you talk about the NBA, are you looking at the number of guys that they put in? Are you looking at guys specifically that maybe fit your skill set, say maybe like a Pelle Larsson, who was very successful here and is now in the league on an NBA roster?
Yeah, Pelle's a great example. I think we're very similar. He's transferred in here. He spent a lot of time here, developed, and now he's one of the best rookies in the NBA. He's solidified his spot on a roster. So I think that's a great comparison. Obviously, Arizona's got a great pipeline from college to the NBA. But it's Tommy, really, and all the coaches around him that he brings that have that experience of what it takes. And it's not just like, oh, this guy can average 20 points, he's going to make it. You got to find your little niche in the NBA. And that's what Pelle's done, that's what Keyshawn's done. So I think Arizona, and especially Tommy Lloyd's sort of style of coaching, is something that I just was sold for, because I knew that he understands guys like me and international guys, and he's always had that experience. So he kind of knows how to navigate us through that journey.
Who have you connected with on this team, both on and off the court?
On and off the court, me and Krivas, I would say the closest, just because I had 2 Lithuanian teammates at my old school. He kind of has become that new Lithuanian teammate for me. And we kind of bond over things like, being not from here and a lot more things in common. But Caleb and I, KJ and I, JB, Trey, all of us, I mean, we're pretty close as a team. But I would say Krivas and JB probably the closest.
We saw a little bit of your temper the other night. Would you say you're the kind of player who goes into the games with that don't mess with me kind of attitude?
Yeah, I think that's what you have to have. I think there's a spark that every person has to have that, you got to basically draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not going back. You have to either deal with it or I'm coming at you. That's kind of what I did, and I knew it was an exhibition, so I was happy to kind of get that out there to start with. But won't be much more of that in the season because I'm a bit too smart for that.
Yeah, Tommy said you can't even look at a guy now like that. I mean, was that what that was? And do you figure you have to really be careful in that situation?
About getting the tech?
Yeah, he said about the tech. He said it was right in front of the bench. We couldn't see it too well where we were, but he said you were just kind of standing over him, maybe because you were knocked in that position. But if you look at him the wrong way or something, the ref can see that as you're maybe trying to intimidate.
Yeah, I mean the game. Each ref's different, each day is different. It depends what you get. I mean, you can never script something like that. It's just basketball. But, I mean, you can look at the play 1,000 times. It is what it is. The ref might see it one way, you might see it another way. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It was just, you're getting hit in the moment, the ref wants to take control, and he does his job. So I can't complain about that. If anything, it's my fault for being in that position. I shouldn't have fouled. But, like I said, it's an exhibition. So I'm glad that we get to get started now on Monday.
So speaking of Campbell, I know when Seth Henderson was here, he said that obviously the tempo was way slower there, but there were still some similarities in the way you're cutting and spacing, et cetera, screening. Do you find that the case too? It has a big adjustment to come here, or has that made it easier that you do some of the same principles?
Yeah, Seth's definitely right. There is similarities. I've noticed it since I've been here. Obviously, the pace is completely different. Campbell's one of the slower playing teams, and Arizona's one of the fastest playing teams. But the similarities kind of in the offense and how the bigs are used, the way the cutting works. Obviously, Campbell plays a Princeton style of offense, so that cutting comes natural to people who have been at Campbell. And that's something that Seth did in his time here. You could see him on a lot of those 45 cuts and those baseline cuts. But there is definitely similarities, and I think that's why Tommy has the liking towards guys like me, because we have that's all IQ at the end of the day. It's not about athleticism or how long you are or how high you can jump. It's just smarts and reading your defender. So there's definitely a pipeline between Campbell and Arizona play styles.
I know you weren't there when Seth was there, but did you know him or talk to him?
Yeah, I'm good friends with Seth. I spoke to him before I came here. I didn't play with him. He was his first year here was my freshman year at Campbell. But I'm close to him now. I've kind of, through my other teammates, they played with him. I've kind of connected with him, spoke to him about this place before I came and got his thoughts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty close with him.
I was just curious about your background too. And I think Tommy, I asked, Tommy had spent a year in Australia, I think, when he was out of college or something,
Yep.
and he played a little semi-pro and he worked in a hotel or something, I think. Did you guys talk about that at all, or was that a commonality? Or I know it was a rush recruitment again, but I was just curious.
Yeah, we talk about everything. That's the best thing about Tommy. I'm a guy that prides myself on having that relationship with coaches. Like, I walk into the coach's office and I'll sit there for hours and we'll just talk about anything. And basketball wouldn't even be the topic. So we spoke about everything. We just had natural conversations. He loves to, throw his little snipes out there about his time in Australia and all that. But I describe him to my parents as he's an Aussie trapped in an American's body. That's how Tommy is. If he wanted to be Australian, he could be.
Pies or something.
Yeah, every day. He'll send me a photo. He's sort of like, let's say next Tuesday morning, he'll send me a photo and it'll be a meat pie and a sausage roll on a plate. Just no text, just the photo. And I'll be like, breakfast of champions, and he'll love it.
Oh, Anthony Del Orso. Tommy Lloyd, an Aussie trapped in an American's body. That's funny stuff right there. Again, we saw his ability to shoot the three, especially in that first game. He was really hot. One guy that's pretty impressed with Anthony Del Orso is one Caleb Love. He thinks Anthony can definitely be an outside threat for this team.
Me and Deli usually work out together pretty much almost every day. And so, yeah, it's no surprise. I see the work that he puts in, and he sees the work that I put in. And so we just, kind of feeding off each other.
That is Anthony Del Orso, your newest Wildcat, your first cat in the spotlight for 24-25.
That's today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
And don't forget your Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. That is tonight, Arizona's top rebounding performance. Every night we will crown the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds, might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. We'll tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day post-game show. Much more straight ahead. About that. 1 hour in the books, just like that. 2 more hours to go. We got Arizona women's basketball happening tonight. We'll update you on that. Maybe even take a little bit of a listen in. I don't know if we figured that out, so maybe not. But we will let you know what's happening down McHale Center in their season opener, UT Arlington in Arizona. That's straight ahead. With Kelvin Efon and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond Musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockinK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
Hi, this is Tim Couch, retired NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, partner at Meridian Wealth Management, and proud member of Meridian's Tucson Advisory Business Council. It's my favorite time of year, college football season. I've always been a proud Wildcat. As our firm has grown in Tucson with Ruben and Natalie Fernandez, I now cheer on 2 Wildcats every year. My alma mater of Kentucky, of course, and our U of A Cats. Here's to a great football season, and go Cats.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Back to Eugene Snarkle, rising UberTube star, and his best friend, Doug.
Eugene, you've been working on my car's brakes for 3 days now. Is there a problem? And what's with all the orange stuff on your t-shirt?
Research, Doug.
The orange stuff is research?
No, I'm doing research for my next UberTube video on fixing brakes. I need the Chizo snack food to power my 72-hour video binges. It gets a little messy, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
It looks like the only sacrifice is my car, and maybe that white t-shirt covered in Chizo dust.
So, can you hand me that metal thingy?
You mean this wrench?
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Eugene, I need my keys. I'm heading to Jack Furrier's.
Great choice, Doug. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the right choice for quality brake service and complete automotive care. You can stop in, call ahead, or make an appointment online at jackfurriers.com. Our 14 area locations are ready to help with fast, friendly service and great prices. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Priebus turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for 2. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hour number 2 of your pregame show, getting you set for the Wildcats and Canisius out of Buffalo, New York. The season opener to this 2024-25 season. I'm David Kelly, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Gameday. Kelvin Efon is here. J.W. Madden is here as well. Guys, we were talking a little bit in that first hour or first segment of the show about the preseason poll in the Big 12. I gave you the top 5 teams: Kansas, Houston, Iowa State, Baylor, and Arizona. The bottom 5 teams include the other 3 teams that are coming over from the Pac-12. Arizona State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Colorado, and Utah. Any surprises there that those teams, I guess if any of those teams maybe surprises me, I think Arizona State on paper looks pretty good with what they did in the offseason. I think that, Bobby Hurley has done that enough where he's been able to bring in those changes and those parts. But again, this is a much deeper conference than what he's been in before. But I was surprised to see Colorado and Utah 15 and 16 at the bottom, because I think Tad Boyle always seems to have good teams.
Yeah, but I think the problem is when you look at the talent on those teams compared to the talent in some of the other teams, I think that's the major reason. Like, you can't tell me a big signing that they had, coming into this conference right now. I don't know any of the guys that they have new. So I just feel like that, to me, the biggest thing is when you look at the rosters, I don't think their roster competes with some of those other rosters that's in the Big 12
I think they still got Gabe Madsen over at Utah, right? With the long hair. He's pretty good.
Gabe Madsen, yeah.
No, I mean, I think Kelvin nailed it. I think, don't ever count out Tad Boyle, because he's going to, he always has teams that are picked to finish, bottom 3 in the conference, and they end up finishing in the middle or at the top. So, I mean, I'm not ever counting out what his ability to teach defense and get his guys on the same page to be able to play that man-to-man that they do. It's just like Kelvin said, though, this is the toughest conference in the country. There's some other teams, other conferences might maybe get more teams in the NCAA tournament at the end of the day, but as far as the top flight talent, there are legitimately 5-6 teams in this conference, the Big 12, that could potentially cut the nets down.
You mentioned earlier, obviously, Hunter Dickinson, one of the major transfers into this conference from Michigan. He joins Caleb Love on the preseason All-Big 12 first team. L.J. Cryer from Houston, Juwan Roberts from Houston, also the Houston, the lone team, to put 2 players on the preseason All-Big 12 first team. And then Tamin Lipsey from Iowa State rounds out that. Hunter Dickinson was the unanimous selection on that list right there, which means he was on everybody's ballot as being a first-team All-Big 12 selection. Preseason All-Big 12 second team, Norchid Omier from Baylor, Jeremy Roach from Baylor, Keshawn Gilbert from Iowa State, DeJuan Harris Jr. from Kansas, and Coleman Hawkins from Kansas State. Your preseason player of the year, Hunter Dickinson from Kansas. Preseason co-newcomers of the year, Jeremy Roach from Baylor and Coleman Hawkins from Kansas State. And preseason freshman of the year, VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. So surprising.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Surprising that there were no other Arizona players on those lists. Second team.
That's just name brand, right?
Yeah.
Because you remember who Jeremy Roach is, right? That was a top 10 recruit who played at Duke last year when Arizona played in Cameron. He was recruited and played his freshman year as a starter, right? So, yeah, he was a big name guy coming in. And I think the name carries a lot when you're talking about newcomers. I think guys like Trey Townsend, 5 years as a starter, his name might not carry as much weight, but they'll figure it out, Kelvin. I mean, I think of those guys who can do it all and are team-first guys might impact their teams more than those transfers who are looking to lead a team in scoring.
All right, let's. We were talking about Anthony Dell'Orso in the Spotlight segment in the last segment. Let's hear from Tommy Lloyd's version on how that recruitment of Anthony Dell'Orso came together. Probably one of the more quicker recruitments out of the transfer portal of Tommy Lloyd's career.
Murph, had kind of had him on his radar, and we just got to a deal where I hadn't had much interaction or really any interaction with him, and. He was looking at certain situations. We were looking at certain options, and it just kind of came together really, really quick. I mean, there wasn't, I'm not exaggerating when I had a conversation with him on one night, and the next day he was committed to us, and it's not lip service. I feel great about it. I think sometimes in this deal we overanalyze things, and, sometimes, opportunities come up, and they're great opportunities for both sides, and it's a little bit of a, I don't know, you could put it in the category just meant to be a little bit, but I love Deli, and I think he's going to really help this team this year. There might be, a little bit of time where he's kind of finding his way in a new role and a new team and a new level, but there might also be games where at halftime he's our leading scorer. So I love where he's at. I love what he brings to the table, and I just love his personality. I love how he carries himself. I love his seriousness, but I also love he's got a great sense of humor, and he interacts really easy with me, which I think is a good thing.
In those quick instances, like it came together with him, what do you need to see in that short period of time to be finally sold on that's the decision you want to make?
There's not one thing. It's more of going to be an overall feel, and maybe just a conversation you have with him, and this world of high level basketball is pretty small, so you can usually cross reference things with maybe other people that know him as well. And so I think you do a couple of those things, and it comes together, and I feel great about it. I mean, I feel really fortunate, to be honest with you, and I really appreciate him trusting us to make it happen in such a short window.
I think it was interesting what Anthony said when we heard from him earlier about how they ran the Princeton offense in Campbell, and that kind of, guys that have the ability to cut like that fit with what Tommy wants to do.
Yeah, because Tommy is playing almost what we call free-flowing, so you just got to make smart plays. That's what Princeton offense is. It's smart cuts, backdoor. It's just IQ basketball. So that's what he's really saying when he's saying that it's the same, because you're just being smart out there. You're making the smart play. If you look at a lot of what we do, we're not really running plays. We're just moving the ball to the open guy. So that's the same type of thing that you have in those systems.
The first basketball you teach, Kelvin, 2-3 zone and motion offense, right? And a motion offense, which is this flow style, you can run that, and 7th graders can run that. The difference is you're talking about read and react. So you're talking about what Delorso actually specifically said in there is the translation from Campbell to U of A is just that, reading what your defender is doing and making your decisions based upon him and the rest of the defense. That's flow offense. So you get the defense out of spots by being smart. I mean, Kelvin said it 3 or 4 times. Athleticism, skill set, that's all great and all, but reading and being smart about your decision making. Where are you flaring, right? Are you curling? Like what are you doing out there? If you're doing it within the flow and spacing with the other 4 guys on the court, Kelvin, that's really what that flow style is. And I think any smaller conference that runs some kind of motion, you're going to have those principles in place. Then it's just a matter of where the shots are coming from.
And Tommy has some credibility when it comes to transfers. I mean, you go back and you look up at Johnson in the NBA now, right? Came in, power forward. Henderson, who he said he had a great conversation with. And then Love recruitment was kind of quick as well, because he was supposed to go to Michigan. He was locked up to go to Michigan, and then things fell apart. And then next thing you know, he was at Arizona. I had no idea that was going to happen like that, and happen so fast. So I just think that when the kid looked at the way that Tommy Lloyd has accepted transfers into his program and incorporated them into the program, I think about Henderson. Henderson didn't start out as a starter. Right? He started out as a guy playing his role. I remember we used to talk about it all the time. He was a little bit, trying to find his way, trying to figure it out. Then once he did, all of a sudden, now he's a starter. So that's the same thing that could end up happening with this kid, just depending. Of course, you got to start a KJ Lewis first. But if you get in a situation to where KJ Lewis isn't playing well, guess what? You got a guy that's experienced that can shoot the ball with length right there, ready to go.
And the other big takeaway from that, guys, is he wants to get better. How do you get better? You get better by playing against other really high caliber players. So you could score 20 points a game as a sophomore at Campbell. Those practices, though, Kelvin, I mean, the amount of work you're getting in trying to defend against dudes like Caleb Love. I mean, hey, coach says, hey, Delorso, why don't you go over there and try to guard a preseason All-American and a guy who's known for getting to the basket. Those reps.
And trying to figure out how to score on those guys.
Exactly, yeah.
How to score on athletic guys, KJ, so many 7-footers, like you're having real NBA-type practices every day. And let's not forget, the NBA scouts come through, and they get a chance to see you working out. If you're at Campbell or some of the smaller schools, how many NBA scouts actually coming through to check things out? But when you're at Arizona, I mean, it's going to be packed. So this is a kid that kind of understands this is an opportunity to put himself in a position to try to get to the NBA.
Also, we'll be welcoming back onto the floor tonight for your Arizona Wildcats, Henry Vasar, 7-foot redshirt sophomore out of Estonia and Real Madrid. He redshirted last year after he suffered an elbow injury early in the practice part of the non-conference. And we haven't seen him really since the 2022-23 season, played in 29 games that first year here at the University of Arizona. Looked really good in the preseason games, and really excited is Henry to get back out onto the floor.
Very funny playing basketball again. Like, in the actual game, it feels a lot different than practices, so I was super happy to be on the court.
Was there any nervousness of, because you had an injury, that, I don't want to hurt myself, or is that too far back in the past?
There wasn't any, nervousness about that. It was just, I hadn't played, in a year almost, and it just felt great to be back. And, I was just so excited. I've been working out for a year now, and, just being able to get back on the court, it meant a lot.
My favorite thing about Henry Vesar is he's not indecisive. He is aggressive, Kelvin. I mean, when he gets the ball, he's not thinking about what he wants to do. He's doing things.
Yeah, no, man, and I'm just wondering how coach is going to figure out how to get these guys on the floor, man. I'm like, between Vesar, Krivas, man, and the big man, Awaka.
Yeah, Awaka,
Toby Awaka.
Awaka, man, I mean, I don't know how you're going to find minutes for those guys because they basically all three are playing five, because with Townsend there, he's going to eat up a buck of those minutes, anywhere from 25 to possibly 30 in tough games. So, man, I mean, it's great having these big guys, especially when you got to go up against the Kansases and the Baylors of the world, and even Houston. But it's going to be tough to figure out how to get those guys on the court.
It's probably going to be real situational, right? You go up against a really, really tall front line, the option of having Vesar at the 4, even if it's just for a 10-minute stretch, Kelvin,
right,
with Mount Krivas in there. I mean, a couple of 7-footers. But, yeah, the versatility is great. I just like the fact that Vesar, speaking of versatility, is a guy who can knock a shot down from 20 to 22 feet. Also really aggressive going to the hole. So, yeah, I like his upside for sure.
Well, there were two players we did not see in either of the two preseason games. You mentioned Mount Krivas, Moteas Krivas, the sophomore out of Lithuania, did not play in either of the exhibition games due to an ankle injury. We also didn't see the coach's son, Liam Lloyd, at all as well in that game. Will we potentially see either one of those guys tonight, Tommy Lloyd?
Listen, one's availability is probably more important than the other. Let's just be frank there. Krivas, he actually, he's been doing more and more on a daily basis. He practiced, for a good segment yesterday, and I think he's gonna, try to go again today. So, yeah, we're just, I'm not gonna rush that thing. I mean, like I've told you guys, I'm leaving it up to J-Rock. I'm leaving it up to Krivas, and I think it's trending in the right direction. And when he's ready, we're ready for him. He's a good basketball player. He's got enough experience now, and if J-Rock thought that was the best situation, then I would embrace it. I'm not getting worried about tricks or trying to be tricky. I mean, when he's ready, he'll be ready.
All right, one of the good things about the transition away from Learfield to Arizona Sports Enterprises is that we get to find out the starting lineups well before game time. Do we know that information yet, J-Dub? Has that come in yet? Is Moteas Krivas?
I have not gotten a text yet, no.
Okay, I don't know that he'll be, even if he's back playing tonight, I don't know that he'll be in the starting lineup. And frankly, obviously, you don't need Mo Krivas to win these first two games coming up this week against Old Dominion and tonight against Canisius. I think, if anything, you'd like to have him healthy and ready to go, guys, for Wisconsin and that road trip against your first Power 5 opponent of the year. But, I mean, you'd like to maybe get him some run in one of these two games leading up to that, but definitely have him out there for that game.
Yeah, you're right. You want him when things get serious. Of course, you would love for him to get some, because these guys are trying to get chemistry. So more you can get some game chemistry with these guys, of course you want them out there. But it's bigger fish to fry. So of course you want to give them some time to get himself together. You trust him. He's a guy that wanted to compete, so you trust him. That when him and J-Rock, I'm thinking he's talking about Justin, right?
Yeah, Justin Kukowski. Yeah, the trainer.
Yeah, him and J-Rock. A lot of people call me K-Rock, so I was like, J-Rock. Okay. Well, I think people know they call me K-Rock, I guess. But it was when I heard that, it was funny. But yeah, no, I just think that just take your time with that because you have a team that's in depth. And I thought about that. I said, you know what? I see 9 or 10 deep on this team, even though, am I counting 19, 20?
20
okay.
guys.
I didn't want to say 20.
20
guys.
This
sounds crazy, but I think you want to make sure you have enough guys to practice. I think that's what that's all about. And then again, with that 9 or 10 people that you have and having the 3 bigs, whatever, it do kind of cover you if you end up with some injuries.
All right, this is the 121st season of Arizona men's basketball. The Wildcats will pass 1,900 wins this season in program history. They have close to 1,000 more wins in this program than they do losses. It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats and Canisius are coming up. We'll have much more straight ahead for you. We're going to go our view from courtside. Darren Sutton will join us on the program when we come back with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, tip-off is 8 o'clock tonight for the season opener, and it is the Wildcats and Canisius. Let's talk to the guy that's going to call this game on a busy night at McHale Center because there's a women's game wrapping up right now. Arizona is leading UT Arlington by a score of 65-47. We'll give you a full update on that coming up a little bit later, but Darren Sutton joins us now. You've heard his voice before during the Pac-12 network years, but now it is ESPN Plus. Darren, appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us. So let's start there because obviously we're all getting to kind of know this new format here. I had to go out and pay the money to get ESPN Plus, my $11 a month and all of that kind of thing. So how's this work from the broadcast standpoint for you? Are you doing games still for both University of Arizona and Arizona State through this new ESPN Plus platform?
Most of my and good to be back with you, by the way. Most of my relationship has really grown with the Wildcats.
Okay.
Geographically, I do live closer to ASU, but as this was wrapping up, I love it. This is like the best side hustle in the world. I have a wonderful day job, but I love this opportunity, and I was lucky enough for a decade, and I do outside of football, just because my calendar doesn't allow it. I do every sport in what used to be the Pac-12, men's and women's, every single sport. And for about a decade. So, I connected with both schools as both schools are independently producing these games. We're going to call them down the middle, but the folks that are producing these games are ASU up at their space and obviously Arizona. I'm really proud of what Arizona's built internally. The control room and the truck basically they've built within the walls of McHale if you go deep down some tunnels and hallways. Huge investment, and the product has been great so far. So, as someone who's done, a couple thousand live events through his life, including a lot of MLB, but then a lot of college, what they put together in a very short time, the folks, Wildcats fans should be proud, and hopefully those $11 a month will be worth it.
There you go. And of course, you get to work with a legend like Matt Muehlbach, so that's not a hard thing to get to do there either.
No, and he doesn't just drop his bag and his 1,000-point resume. He so enjoys the biographical stories. He really enjoys getting to know. He really enjoys the opponent as well. And in a case of tonight, he's always leading the emails and the phone calls with opposing coaches. He reached out to Jim Christian of Canisius, and before they even came out from Buffalo. So Matt's a true student of the sport still, and so it's just not his legend he leans on. It's a joy to call games with him.
We're chatting with Darren Sutton. He'll call the game tonight on ESPN Plus. You mentioned Jim Christian, the new head coach at Canisius, and that's a great hire for them. I'm from Northeast Ohio, so I remember when Jim Christian was the coach at Kent State, and they were winning in the early part of this century. That's an extremely good get for them in a very competitive environment up there, obviously, in Western New York in terms of college basketball. When you think about, you got University of Buffalo, you got St. Bonaventure up there as well. Canisius trying to carve out, where they place in that realm. And Jim Christensen, who obviously has coached at Boston College as well in Power 5, is the kind of coach that can get them back competitive again.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And there's a lot of wins on that resume at interesting times. You talk about the time with Kent State, and the opportunity to take them a couple of times in the MAC to the tournament, coach of the year there a few occasions. And, and we're seeing kind of I want to say this carefully because it's not a negative thing. It's just the landscape of college basketball is changing dramatically. And, a program like Arizona is going to run itself. Heck, they have a general manager. They have and that's not just the manager of the equipment. That's a general manager. You're managing dollars. You're managing cents. You're managing all that. So you're managing partnerships, sponsorships, whereas at Canisius is going to be at a smaller scale. But you still have to be passionate about the sport, knowledgeable, recruiting. Find a place if a player does not work out at a Syracuse or in Arizona. Maybe he's 8th or 9th on that depth chart. Maybe you're a great fit at Canisius. And so I think Christian's history, his passion for the game, because I'm seeing across all sports, not just because I do a ton of stuff with college baseball, college softball as well. I'm seeing coaches that it's just not working for them, and they're moving on. I mean, and that's okay. That's their right. They're leaving good programs like at Jacksonville State in Alabama at a high, mid-major level where it's just not for them. And I respect that. So to see the passion Christian still has in this changing landscape and the optimism, they're lucky to have him. I agree.
All right, you saw the game last week against Point Loma. What stood out to you? Obviously, the fast start by Jaden Bradley in that ball game. We were talking, one of the things that we love so much about Jaden Bradley is his ability to take the ball to the basket, to get to the line, which I think has been missing from the point guard position here at Arizona for a number of years. A really aggressive driver, but he showed in that game that he can be aggressive shooting from the outside and finding his jumper there to get things going as well. So I think we're going to see, do you believe an involvement in Jaden Bradley in the number of things that he can do to facilitate offense for this team?
Yeah, and I think it was an evolution of who he became from year to year. A couple of years back, obviously, making the move, in here and with a strong resume. But he had a bounce in field goal percentage last year, a bounce in 3-point percentage, and what did he go to the line last year? About 80 times, so nowhere near the team lead on a team, by the way, that prides itself in going to the line. So if you're, let's say, top 20 in going to the line, which they were. And you add a point guard who's going to take a little bit more of that role on. A, he's going to open up more mid-range or jumpers for his teammates. And B, you may take that number that was, 18 last year, or just over 20, I should say, and take it from 23, 24 up to closer to 25, 26. And, then you could lead the nation in that spot because they're going to still be a 2-point team. They haven't dramatically changed. They're not suddenly going to lean on the outside. That's not who their head coach is. I mean, we know that. That's not who Tommy is. So they're going to be right up near the top and leading in 2-pointers. But boy, Jaden, as you say, to kind of create a little bit of more of a gap between where you can stop defending him, I think makes them even more dangerous.
We're chatting with Darren Sutton, the ESPN Plus broadcaster on tonight's game. It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Were there other things that kind of stood out to you? Obviously exhibition basketball is what it is. It's exhibition basketball, but were there some things that you saw in that Point Loma game that you said, okay, I like this, and this could maybe be something moving forward that Arizona fans are going to see maybe that they haven't seen in the last few years?
Yeah, I think it's how Townsend fits in, the Oakland transfer who had a great career there, nearly 2,000 points, and then Tobe Awaka, how he fits in, Tennessee transfer. And there weren't as many minutes there for him. But I think Tobe is an interesting study. Should he earn more minutes? He led the Tennessee squad back-to-back years in offensive rebound percentage. So when he was on the floor, there was no better offensive rebounder. So, look, one plays, 6'8", Tobe, and Townsend plays a tall 6'6", with the wingspan of a guy like 6'8". I just think their presence, their fearlessness, for Awaka, it's a little bit of hunger. Like he thinks he should have been that guy that scored 1,000+ points, and now's his chance to prove it. And for Townsend, this is his final act. To add to a resume that allows him to keep getting paid after this. By the way, to go play somewhere around the world, and it's very important. And I think that stood out to me. And again, we did all of it without Krivas, who excited to see where he fits in. Slowly eased back in tonight. And Basar, remembering the moments he played, what did he play? About 15 minutes, had 12 plus about 3 or 4 rebounds, something along that, right? So, you got the 6'8" guy that can rebound, 6'7" guy that can rebound. You got the 2 7-footers. So I think what stood out to me most, and we had heard about it, like you and I both read about it. You've been around the practices, but I think the presence and Townsend and Awaka have. Now we'll see it be stretched even a little more tonight. This isn't a D2 team, right? This is not a D2 team. And then when they get into a massively better conference that they left behind, you got to be fearless. You got to be physical because the Big 12 is not the Pac-12. And those two guys, I think, are kind of cool little bodyguards for the team.
I don't know if there was, because of this women's game, I don't know if there was a shoot-around or if they went early, if you were there. Did you see Moteus Krivas? Do you know if he's playing tonight?
I was told he was going to be playing. I was not there. My day job, that's why I have a great podcast partner who was there. But I was told last week that he would be. I have not heard anything of the otherwise that would veer him off. I actually was told he could have played last week. So I think that was a wise decision. No sense because he's an important piece for this team, and we saw him kind of come of age. His big moments, his per 40 was huge last year with when he was out there, how he pitched in. So in that Cal game, I think it was the Cal game where he played so well, like 18 points in 18 minutes. So,
right.
And then this summer, played good competitive international basketball. So I think sitting him out the game against a D2 team was wise, but I think we see him tonight. Can't confirm, but I think we see him tonight.
Darren, we were talking earlier in the show, just kind of analyzing the Big 12 preseason poll and how that relates to what we got in the Big 12 preseason football poll, and how four of the teams in the top 5 of the football poll are sitting at the bottom of the conference right now. Do you believe, and I'll ask you the question I asked the guys here, Kansas, Houston, Iowa State, Baylor, and Arizona, is there a team of that 5 that you think could fall out and fall far down?
I have a hard time saying one of those teams can fall in their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't play every week, different than football where you're playing once a week, where 2 bad losses can derail your season completely. You can lose a couple of games around the holidays and be a Big 12 team, and you're not going to fall that far. I think the biggest, most obvious thing, you guys are talking about it daily. I come back in and integrate myself when I do these games. And, after a decade of being around this conference, I think like the astonishing thing is if you count Arizona and Colorado, that's 10 teams that this conference would have had in tournament last year in comparison to 4 from the Pac-12. But, it got to the point where you're playing a rivalry game against an ASU, with all due respect to ASU, and, wins were equally as important against Belmont or UTA last year as they were against ASU. And those days are going to be gone. And so preseason coaches polls, those are great fodder. I don't think anyone will fall that flat on their face. I just think the value of even a loss in this conference is going to be more so than some wins that they used to pick up over the last few years within the Pac.
Now, are you on the majority of the games, the ESPN Plus games, Darren?
Yeah, majority of the ESPN Plus games. A lot of them will go to the big boys on TV, which means I'm sure our good friend Roxy Bernstein will come in. He's a good West Coast presence for ESPN. But if it's on the Plus, and then I plan on carrying that into, hopefully they'll want to grow some the gymnastics, baseball, and softball. So baseball is my livelihood through the years, but they're still building out all their schedules. So I plan to be down in Tucson a lot over this school year.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to the opportunity, Darren, to talk to you again this season.
All right, my friend. Thanks for having me on. It's always an honor.
Darren Sutton, the ESPN Plus broadcaster. That's your view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, much more coming up for you straight ahead. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We'll get your scoreboard here. The women's game is coming down to the close at McHale Center, leading 69-54 are the Wildcats over UT Arlington. Along with Kelvin Ethan and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, a proud sponsor of Arizona Athletics since 1968. And this year, the Wildcats are driving into the Big 12. But we've been down this road before. From the WAC to the PAC, it's never been about the conference. It's always been about the Wildcats. And you can count on the Cats. And you can count on Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care for the very best deals on tires and award-winning auto care. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there. Go Cats!
Make Dave & Buster's a part of your weekly rituals. Military Monday, get extra gameplay on your card. Tuesday night is trivia night with great prizes. Thursday is extra credit with student discounts on gameplay after 9 p.m. Stop in Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials. Want more? Rewards members will get an extra 100 chips with the purchase of 100 chips and Sunday sips for hospitality workers. Full and quick service restaurants, hotels, and amusement parks. Discounted beverages and apps after 9 p.m. only at Dave & Buster's.
Are you facing plumbing problems and need a reliable solution? Whether it's a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, or an upgrade to a tankless water heater, Rightway has you covered. And for a limited time only, we're offering 10% off your next repair or installation. Don't let plumbing issues ruin your day. Call Rightway at 520-276-2775. We'll get a plumber to your door. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
There are many reasons you might need Dorado Rockin' Materials. A few bare spots in the yard, the driveway needs filling in, or it could be that the yard needs a whole makeover. Whatever the reason, if your yard has the summertime blues, Dorado Rockin' Materials has everything from sand to boulders and every rock and pebble in between. If you need help spreading it, we have options for that too. Call 400-4233. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Arizona Canisius is the game coming up tonight. Arizona opening up the 2024-25 season. And let's give you another one of the interesting stats in the starting 5. Arizona has won its season opener in each of the last 17 seasons and the last 22 season openers in McHale Center for your Arizona Wildcats. Tommy Lloyd in season number 4, 88-22 through the first, 88-20 through the first 3 years. Pretty impressive. The 88 wins are the second most wins through his first 3 seasons by a coach in NCAA history. All right, it is the start of the college basketball season tonight. Let's take a look at what is happening around the rest of the country.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, let's start by giving you the top 10 in terms of the rankings. AP, Kansas number 1, Big 12 school. Alabama number 2. UConn is 3, two-time defending national champions. Houston is 4, Big 12 school. Iowa State is 5, Big 12 school. Gonzaga is 6. Duke is 7, have probably one of the best freshmen in the country, if not the best freshman in the country. Baylor is 8, Big 12 school. North Carolina is 9, and Arizona is number 10. Arizona is 10 in the AP poll. They are number 9 in the coaches poll coming in to this season. Games tonight, and it is a full slate of games in the Big 12 Conference this evening as we start the college basketball season. One game, actually a number of games, are already underway. Let's see, we do not currently have any finals on the board, but we'll give you the games underway. Central Florida is hosting number 13 Texas A&M tonight, and they are trailing right now by a score of 38-35, that game in the second half. Number 20, Cincinnati. So Cincinnati, another Big 12 team ranked. They're leading Arkansas Pine Bluff at home 61-34. West Virginia up 20 right now on Robert Morris, 46-26 at the half. Number 1, Kansas taking on Howard, and the Jayhawks leading the Bison 15-4. That game is early, 15-4. Number 4, Houston, also taking on an HBCU tonight. Jackson State down in Houston tonight. The number 4 Cougars up 5-2 early. Also, Iowa State up early on Mississippi Valley State by a count of 8-2. These game and one more game actually in progress. TCU playing an HBCU as well. Florida A&M tonight, and TCU leading that game 9-2. These games will be later. Alcorn State at Utah. Green Bay will head to Oklahoma State. Eastern Washington plays at Colorado. And how about this? We have an early in the Findlay Auto tip-off, an early battle of top 10 teams as 8th-ranked Baylor is in Spokane tonight to take on number 6 Gonzaga. So Baylor will get an immediate test out of the gate. That'll be
Mark Few's trying to schedule some tough games. What's he doing up there?
I don't know.
Every single year you'll see like some crazy top 10 matchup, and Gonzaga's always involved.
We could see that. That team in the tournament coming up down in the Bahamas a little bit later. All right, the game at McHale Center has gone final. It is Arizona beating UT Arlington, University of Texas Arlington, 73-54. Scoring totals on this game, 4 players in double figures, all with 10 points. Jada Williams scored 10 points tonight. She didn't shoot the ball well, though. She shot just 2 of 15 from the floor, did Jada. She started slow last year, though. Did not shoot the ball well early. Bray Cunningham, 5 of 7 from the floor. She had 10 points. Even more impressive, Brea, just 2 fouls in the game. You're going to want to see a lot of that. Not a whole lot of fouling by Brea.
And I'll say this, too, about in Jada's defense. In Adia's offense, a lot of time the point guard ends up with the ball late shot clock. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to get a shot up. Right. You go back, you think about all the point guards she ever had, they would have the ball late shot clock, and you just got to get a shot up. Maybe you get offensive rebound, but at least you don't get a shot clock violation, so you get back. So I think, to her credit, I got to watch it, but I guarantee you that some of that happens a lot.
Isis Bay, 10 points. She's one of the captains this year. Sonia Jai, she's the transfer out of South Carolina. She had 10 points as well on 4 of 11. 9 for Paulina Paris, 9 for Maylene Rolfe in the game, 8 for Lauren Swan. Skylar Jones had 4 points. She did start the game. 3 points for Katarina Nezvek. Wildcats didn't shoot the ball all that well tonight, just 39% from the floor, only 22% from 3 as they missed 14 of their 18 3-point shots. They did go to the line 22 times in this game and made 19 of those shots. So Doesn't look necessarily like it was a pretty game on paper for Arizona, but they get the 19-point win, 73-54. We may have some post-game reaction for you coming up on that, and we are also expecting to chat with Derek Palmer coming up a little bit later as well. That's a look at your scoreboard.
Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, what's next here? Oh, DK with TL, sponsored by nobody. So jump on board and sponsor my questions to the head coach, whose son we mentioned has not played in either of the first two games. And Tommy, or I should say Brian Jeffries, joked, the voice of the Wildcats, 37 years running, joked in the last broadcast that maybe Liam was in the doghouse. Was he in the doghouse?
Yeah, well, Liam had a strained oblique, and so he was out for a couple weeks, and he just started practicing a little bit. So hey, you don't practice, you don't play. I mean, it's the same for everybody.
What would you say is your favorite thing about being a grandfather?
Oh wow, it's just awesome. It's awesome at a lot of levels. It's awesome, seeing your kids take that next step in their life and become parents, and to see them do it well. It's been a lot of fun. He and Hallie have done a great job. Luca is an incredibly happy little guy, and so it's fun. It's just fun. Yesterday I went home from work, and my wife had some friends over, and Hallie was over there with Luca, and I got to come home and spend some time with them and help them out a little bit, and it's a great I guess distraction from your real job, to kind of get back to that stage. And kids are amazing. I mean, I couldn't imagine our lives without kids for my wife and I. But you get to a point where your kids start getting a little older and don't need you as much anymore, at least for those early parenting things. They need you for money in their bank account and things of that nature. So there's that gap, where they kind of grow up, and we didn't expect the gap to be replaced so quick with a grandchild, but it's awesome that it is having a baby back in our lives, and hopefully we have a bunch of grandkids down the line.
Was Liam that kid who had the mini basketball right away? I mean, did you have him going in basketball?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Ball in the hand, and doing massage techniques to try to work on the elbow flexibility, elbow and wrist flexibility, for follow throughs and stuff like that. Yeah, 100% he was.
What would you say is your biggest concern about this team, Tommy, going into the season?
I don't really have any concerns. I like where we're at. I like who we got. I believe in them wholeheartedly. I like the work they've done, and I love the direction they're going. So no, I've got no concerns. That doesn't mean things won't pop up over time as you deal with adversity, and maybe get exposed on a few things. But sitting here today, I'm not saying we're a perfect team, but I feel really good about where we're at.
Is there one or two things maybe about this team that you think will surprise people?
I don't know, because I don't know what people's expectations are. So I don't know if people think there's things we can't do well and we're going to do them well, and that's going to surprise them. I haven't spent, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time outside of our program getting opinions on what they think of our team.
Jaden is obviously a little bit more of an aggressive point guard than you had here.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
What do you think then his ability to get to the basket is going to mean?
Jaden's a really good player. He's a really good player who I think he understands, the importance of winning and what it takes to win. There's obviously been, conversations he and I have had on, of things I think he can do to help make him more effective. That'll ultimately make us more effective. And he's at 100% buy-in. I love where he's at. It was awesome to see the way he started last game, but how he started last game doesn't necessarily going to be an indicator of how he's going to start the next game. You got to go out and do it again, and be consistent, and everything about Jaden, from the second half of last season to the off season to where he's at now, has showed me that he's going to have the ability to be a consistent performer. So I got a lot of belief in him.
That is the head coach, Tommy Lloyd, DK with TL, sponsored by nobody. If you were not aware, Tommy is a grandfather now. His son, Liam, and Liam's girlfriend, Hallie, who they met at, Liam played at Grand Canyon before he was at Northern Arizona, and they met at Grand Canyon. She was on the track team there. They had a baby this
Got to
past
stop
year.
all over the state.
Yeah, exactly.
Northern, Central, and Southern.
Exactly. Started at Grand Canyon, went to Northern, and now back down at the U of A. So congratulations to Liam and Hallie on the birth of Luca and making Tommy and Chanel grandparents.
That's a lot of pressure, Luca.
Oh, yeah, that is. I'm sure he'll have a ball in his hand. And then, like Tommy said, massaging the elbows.
Right, flexibility.
That's funny stuff. Good stuff there, though, for the Lloyd family. All right, who is going to be that Canisius Golden Griffin that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight? Let's find out.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
All right, it's our first pest of this season. And let's start with you, Kelvin Ifan. Who do you think is going to be that pest that gets underneath our skin today?
Well, I don't know how big of a pest, today, what I'm, looking for out of, out of these guys. But I will say, I'll just say Paul McMillan, 6'3", guy. He's a junior, one of the more veteran guys on the team. So we'll go with him right now. Early in the year right now, it's not real pest.
Yeah,
I think you got to get some better, stiffer competition.
A lot of stats up there at the top of last year's box scores left the program, too. So you got a lot of newcomers coming in to fill some roles. DK, I'll go, if you don't mind. I'll take Anthony Bernard.
Okay.
And he's a transfer out of Mercer, played his first year at Mercer. The reason I like him is because he was 4-time All-Conference at Detroit Grosse Pointe South. And I love the fact that he went to Grosse Pointe High School.
Wow.
That's amazing. 4-time, and he was the defensive, and he averaged about a steal per game last year in only about 16 minutes. So I think once that kid gets a little more playing time, again, like Kelvin said, I'm not so sure the overall score at the end of the game is going to be the biggest concern, but you want to make sure that you're playing tight, make sure that you're not sloppy with the ball, and anybody who can, steal those cookies out of the cookie jar, you got to watch out for. So I think Anthony Bernard, sophomore, transfer from Mercer, that's my guy.
All right, well, I'm going to go with the veteran coming back, I think. Cam Palesi. Cam Palesi. Transfer from Valparaiso, 6'5" guard, the most experienced player, the only player on this roster to start a game as a Griff last season. He made 16 starts. They've had a lot of turnover, not only with the head coach, but on the roster. Decided to get into the portal, but decided out of that and will stay. 7 points last year to 4 rebounds. He's the only one, like I said, really coming back with any experience on this team. So I'm going to go with the veteran Cam Palesi as my guy that will get underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight. Those are your pests.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit bepestfree.com.
It is an Arizona basketball, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats and Canisius tip-off coming up for you at 8 o'clock. We've got 1 hour to go before we hand it over to Brian Jeffries, Ryan Hansen, and the network for tonight's game. If you're heading down to McHale Center tonight, check in with us by way of Twitter or by way of Facebook. You can watch the program on any of those streaming platforms at Wildcats 1290 or at Wildcats Radio 1290 on Facebook and YouTube. You can check in with us on a message on Twitch. You can text the program as well, 520-848-1290. You can send us a text and let us know what you're feeling about Arizona basketball.
Also, if you see Kelvin Ifan in public, you can say, "What's up, Kelvin?"
There you go.
Do that too.
Exactly.
Always.
Kelvin will take pictures with you and sign your basketballs. Heck, he might even sign some babies. You never know.
Yeah. Everything else we can do. But.
All right. There you go. Okay, we'll have much more coming up for you. We're also going to give you your scouting report. Rachel Lindsay will join us in the next hour from the Buffalo News. We expect to hear from Derek Palmer coming up as well. We will hopefully maybe be able to give you some post-game as well from the ladies who just completed their game and won. All of that is straight ahead. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet. Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
My helmet saved me after they crashed into my motorcycle, but I still couldn't ride for weeks. The insurance company tried hammering me into a quick settlement. No way! I gave them the bird, the eagle, Goldberg and Osborne. Nobody knows Arizona like the eagle. Phoenix to Tucson, Flagstaff to Havasu, and every bit of blacktop in between. Wherever you go, the eagle is there. So if you've been injured, don't wait. Give the insurance company the bird.
Give them the bird. Call the eagle. Goldberg and Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead, live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thona Ogden Nation.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Beat it out top, Townsend. Same spot he just hit, and he drains another.
Does not look uncomfortable at all. Facing up from the top of the key. Back-to-back trays for Townsend.
Trey Townsend, one of the transfers on this Arizona roster, coming in from Oakland of Michigan in the Horizon League, where he scored over 1,800 points in 4 years. And again, showed an ability, at least in the preseason, to knock down the three-point shot and kind of bringing back some memories of what we saw last year with one Keyshawn Johnson, who came in here and was able to be a little bit of a three-point threat for the Arizona Wildcats. Not something that he did a whole lot of, shooting the three at Oakland, but Trey Townsend working on becoming a better three-point shooter.
You know, I'd say it's a yes to both of those questions. I've always felt I was a capable three-point shooter. You know, it just wasn't my main role at Oakland University. But here it was also something I wanted to work on and get back and confident mentally to be that great shooter. And, you know, I give a lot of credit to Ken. We've worked out individually. You know, he's been my guy this entire time since I've got here in June. And, you know, to see this happen on the court, you know, hopefully he's just as happy as I am because he's put a lot of work into me.
A lot of praise early for Ken Nakagawa, the elevated to the staff as a full-time assistant, because coaches now the staffs could add
K-Rock,
a guy.
When you're in school, you're shooting coaches with some random sophomore you just pulled us off the side who at the rec center, right?
Right, yeah. We didn't have all these guys.
Right. Ken Nakagawa.
No.
A specialist. Who has been with Tommy Lloyd.
Coach Ross.
Right, yeah.
Coach Ross was.
That's a pretty good shooting coach there.
Yeah, no, for sure. But he was the guard coach. Coach Evans used to help him out too.
But yeah, again, this is not a guy that has taken a lot of three-point shots. I think he's averaged 13 a season. Well, no, a little bit more of a 13 a season. He's taken 159 in 4 seasons. So that's about maybe 40. Averaging about 40, but only making at about a clip of about 13 per season over the course of his 4 years at Oakland of Michigan. And again, we'll see if that translates into the regular season for Trey Townsend, who talked about transitioning from being an ISO player at Oakland to being somebody that is going to be on the fringe of the U of A offense.
Yeah, so at Oakland, what I've been saying a lot, the transition for me coming here was Oakland's very set-oriented, and Campy's a great play caller, but everything we did was, you know, XYZ, we're running plays, and, you know, we're going to get the best shot from these plays. Whereas my transition here, Tommy's offense is really free-flowing, and, you know, we're playing basketball at a fast pace, but it's a lot of players making plays for each other and things like that. So at the beginning of my time here, that was a struggle for me to fit in this system, but like I've said, the coaches have invested hours and hours of time into, you know, my development. My teammates, the guys that have been here, and the guys that are also transferring in with me have helped me learn and play my best game. But, you know, just seeing, like I said earlier, seeing this all come together and playing it in this pace and transition game like that, it's been fun.
Now, Kelvin, from my perspective, it feels like the ISO guy, the guy who is ISOing to set up the rest of his teammates because he can't do that thing, is not going to struggle transitioning into some kind of more of a flow motion. It's those other 4 guys who are relying on Trey Townsend ISOs to get the ball. But Trey, I mean, come on, Kelvin. He's started every single game of his college career. Transitioning over into this read and react style, that's not going to be too difficult.
No, and I think another thing is if he wants a chance to play in the league, which all these guys are transferring to programs to get bigger eyes on them. Come on, let's be honest. Why these guys are transferring around these type of programs, opportunity to go deep into the NCAA tournament and also to get the eyes on them to play at the next level, the NBA. So with that being said, you have to play free flowing. Tell me teams, most of 80% of the teams in the NBA play a free flowing style of play. So
every team that doesn't have James Harden on.
So it's that style of play. So if he wants a chance to play in the NBA, this is a perfect play to come hone his skills. You think he didn't see those guys, Keyshawn and Pella, just get into the NBA and earn roles off of a team like this? Yes, he did. So, of course, he thinks this is a great opportunity to prove himself.
And another young player that we are going to see this season, and a lot of people are excited about Carter Bryant in this lineup for the Arizona Wildcats. And this is a young big man who can run the floor and do a lot of things. And he probably will not start early in his career, 6'8", 225 pounds, but he looked real impressive in the red-blue game. He looked real impressive in the two games of the preseason, and he's a young man who is really just trying to be a sponge of all these players, veteran players that are around him on this team.
I mean, all these guys, whether it's Caleb, I'm guarding Caleb, Trey, KJ, JB, I think it's a thing for me. I'm just learning. I'm soaking in as much as I can. When you have an All-American on your team, I mean, he's been here. This is going into his 5th year. But the biggest thing for me is he's seen everything. Whether it's he's hated walking into arena, he's loved walking to arena. He's had amazing games, he's had terrible games, but you see just consistently, he's just always, his demeanor is always solid. He always stays the same. So just being able to learn from him is a big thing. Just from the other guys, they have more years under their belt than I do. So just constantly learning from them and constantly taking away and picking parts away from the game, whether it's like I'm getting killed in practice one day or if I got the best of them in practice. It's just constantly taking those small things and adding it to my game to make me better.
You know, Kelvin, they were going at him because he came in with that defensive rep, right? So in the summer before practice even really got organized, you know that they were going to go at him, make sure that he knew what was up.
Oh, yeah. And, man, just listen to him. You can hear a maturity there. He understands the situation he was coming into a program like the University of Arizona, and he embraced it. He's here to compete against those guys. He's here to earn his minutes, and he'll let the rest speak for itself.
Smooth, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jaden Bradley impressed with the young Carter Bryant.
Unbelievable freshman, he has, high standards for himself. I see him in the gym every day. He's the last person to leave practice, again, shots up. Even when he was injured, just asking questions, and, he's coming a long way. So he's definitely going to have a big role in this team down the stretch.
And the more, I haven't had a chance to really get a chance to talk one-on-one with Carter Bryant, but the more you just listen to him speak, the more you're impressed with his knowledge of the game, how he sees the game for somebody just coming in here, and a young man who understands his role early is going to be off this bench, and it's something he's got to learn, but he has a plan on how to attack that.
It's a thing where once you get in the game, you still have to execute, whether you're the first guy to touch the basketball in the game or you're coming off the bench and you only play 2 minutes in the first half, because you never know how your minutes can impact the game. I mean, there's a handful of games last year where KJ didn't play too much in the first half, or really to start the second half, and he finished out the last 16 minutes of the game or the last 14 minutes of the game. So I think just kind of being under KJ's wing and all the guards' wings, they've kind of told me that just be prepared when your name is called, because like we said last year when we played UCLA, we were down, I think, 23 or something like that, and KJ went in with about, I think, 14 minutes and 23 seconds or something like that and didn't come out the rest of the game. We ended up coming out on top. So I think that's just the biggest thing, being prepared when my number is called.
Now, I'll go back to my early years here covering this program, and I'm not going to name the kid who, freshman, media day, went to interview him, totally unimpressed, couldn't answer a question, didn't really have a whole lot to say. And my thought was, you're putting the keys to your program in the hands of this young man. But then I will talk about Nick Johnson, because I remember meeting him his freshman year, and just how he impressed me with his knowledge of the game and how to talk basketball.
How many?
That's what I get from Carter Bryant. I get a young man who knows he's extremely smart up here. He knows not only how to play basketball, but he knows how to talk it. He knows how to explain it. He's got that kind of coach on the floor expertise to him coming into college out of high school.
It's a lot of guys that have the mentors and father figures and fathers that are really doing great jobs with them and making them understand how to become a pro and how to become great college players. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot out there, guys having great leadership outside of the team before they even get here, which molds their character and makes them into good guys, good team players.
How many interviews do you think Nick Johnson did with the soldiers before he got on campus, Kelvin?
Right.
He was a seasoned vet with the media.
And again, family. You got to remember, Nick Johnson comes from Dennis Johnson, and his father played. Yeah. So when you have family that play professional or college that have been through it, their mentorship really helps you out in these situations. Like when I came to college, I had I was the first person in my family to graduate high school. So that tell you. And I didn't really have a lot of mentors because they were worried about people thinking that they were trying to use me for something, so you count on your own now because you got to just figure it out. But luckily I had great coaches and everything that kind of taught me how to get ready to prepare. But I saw Reggie Gary, I saw Miles Simon, dads that played college basketball. They had a complete advantage. Because they understood just be a part of the team. You don't have to worry about going to the NBA your freshman year. You don't have to worry about being a high scorer. Just be a great team player and great things happen. And that was one of the things that I really learned being around those guys.
All right, let's tell you what we've got coming up for you in this last hour of the program.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, best bets before we get out of here for this segment. Arizona 34.5-point favorite, over under 156.5 on this one tonight. We're going to get your opponent's scouting report. Just who are the Canisius Golden Griffins? Just what is a Golden Griffin? Is that like a dragon or something of that nature? Rachel Lindsay from Buffalo News will join us. We'll hear from her on the Griffins and their new coach, Jim Christian. Keys to the game, starting lineups as well. We'll actually know this year. Last year, we were just kind of guessing. This year, I think we'll probably know what the starting lineups for, as long as they get that information to J-Dub before we go off the air. All right, it's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Let's find out if we can cash some tickets on this game tonight at the Desert Diamond Casino.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, it's game number 1 of this season. I forgot to look and see who won last year. Do you remember who won?
I think you won.
Did I win?
Yeah, I think so.
I won? Okay, awesome.
We on you this year.
I like to win.
Since we know we're really counting now. We're counting now.
Right.
So it's on now.
That means Kelvin gets to go first or last. Whatever. Kelvin gets to pick, right?
Well, we should have flipped it. Well, since I won, then I'll just go first on this one. Arizona minus 34.5. I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to take U of A and lay the 34.5 tonight. I think there's a lot of new kids on the block at Canisius, and I just don't know if they're going to be ready to play cohesively against a much, much more stronger Arizona Wildcats team.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I have to take that deal as well. And are we doing the under yet? Or
no, we'll do this. Well, if you want to give your under, you can do that, Kelvin. Okay. J-Dub.
Yeah, obviously, I think in addition to Canisius having 10 new guys on their roster, I think Arizona's got a lot of new guys. So once that score, Kelvin, gets up there and those new guys get on, they actually hear McHale's crowd and they actually get that energy behind them. They're not going to let up. So, yeah, I think over. They're gonna cover that spread for sure.
All right, so everybody's taking Arizona and laying the 34.5. Over under 156.5 tonight on this game. I'm going to do that. I think I think. Well, I mean, if you looked at the preseason, Arizona scored 113 points,
Right.
Plus in each of those games, and I don't think tonight's.
So if
gonna be
Arizona
any
hits their
different.
average, Canisius needs what, 40 points?
40 points, yeah, and they'll get more than that. They'll get into the 60s. So I could see 100, 175, 180 on this game tonight. So I'll go over.
I'm going under.
I
think we're gonna lock up on defense. I think with a new team,
okay.
I think that these guys, especially with Canisius having a new team, and when we're having so many new guys, I think they're gonna have to come in with a defensive edge to try to gain playing time. So
even if Arizona scores 105, you think they'll hold them to like under 50?
I got it right here, 90 to 50.
Okay.
I think Canisius is probably going to slow.
You don't think they'll get to 100? Okay.
I think Canisius is going to probably slow the tempo down a bit as well. So, I'll go with K-Rock. I think it's going to be not too far, but like just slightly under that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so everybody's taking Arizona and laying the 34.5. Kelvin and J-Dub are taking the under. I've got the over. We'll see who cashes those tickets coming up tonight on the post.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Rachel Lindsay from the Buffalo News will join us coming up next. It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats Canisius with tip-off coming up at McHale Center at 8 o'clock. With Kelvin Efon and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style. And top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's November and the weather is cooling down. Now is the time to have your furnace serviced to ensure that it's operating safe and efficient. We also have a $79 garbage disposal service. And check out our monthly plumbing specials on our website. Call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing for all your plumbing and heating needs at 520-492-0748 or picturerockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. Time now for our look at today's Wildcat opponent. The scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
Let's take a closer look at tonight's opponent, the Canisius Golden Griffins. Tonight's scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. We are pleased to be joined by the young lady that writes the beat for the Buffalo News on Canisius. Rachel Lindsay is our guest. And Rachel, appreciate you taking some time to join us. It's a new era for the Canisius Golden Griffins. They went out and got themselves a pretty successful veteran head coach. I used to live up in Northeast Ohio when Jim Christian was roaming the sidelines at Kent State, and that's a pretty nice hire for this program.
It is. You know, they definitely, as Canisius, deviated from the past in hiring Jim. If you look at the history of Canisius's recent coaches, from John Beeline to Jim Barron, even to Reggie Witherspoon, who Jim Christian followed. Everybody's had a tie to Western New York in some ways. You know, John Beeline, Western New York native. Jim Barron played at St. Bonaventure. Reggie Witherspoon, Buffalo native, who grew up watching Bodleian Era as well. And Canisius, you know, they had some very good candidates. One of the candidates was Steve Curran, an assistant at George Mason, former assistant at St. Bonaventure. Another one was the Wagner head coach. Really went for the splash hire in Jim Christian, who, A, is a proven coach, B, he's a proven winner, and C, he's proven also he's taken some programs that were in some tough places and was able, you know, either to win or to produce or kind of make a turnaround of the program. And he did it in a tough place. You know, his last head coaching job was at Boston College, not an easy place to win in the ACC at all. Had been competitive as well. It didn't work out at Boston College there, and went back to Kent State where he helped Rob Senderhoff, you know, build and kind of reformulate Kent State into one of the top competitors in the Mid-American Conference as well. And Jim was, you know, in a kind of an assistant coach / manager role. Wasn't an assistant coach. He was a de facto coach per se. But the bug got him. He's familiar with the region, you know, Northeast Ohio, the MAC territory, the Metro territory as well, too. And he's got a pretty good challenge at Canisius. One, he's got to get that program to win again. They haven't had a full winning season in about 7 or 8 years since Reggie Witherspoon was the head coach. Their last winning season was the COVID-shortened 2020-2021 year where they went 7-6. He's got to really revive interest in the program at Canisius as well. As you remember, you know, John Beeline brought Canisius to prominence when they went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 40 years back in the mid-1990s. And, you know, Buffalo's a very interesting sports town. I mean, college basketball, the Bills and Sabres rule the roost. What he's got to do, he's got to really build interest locally again in Canisius basketball. Get the community excited. Start getting the campus excited. He's done outreach in the alumni base as well, too. And he's got to get them to win because he's also in a landscape in college basketball. He's one of 4 programs in Western New York, along with Buffalo, Niagara, where Greg Paulus is the head coach, the former Duke point guard, and St. Bonaventure, where Mark Schmitz built a winning program. And, you know, and all of them face the same issues as well with the transfer portal, fight for NIL, you know, and getting players and whatnot, donor fatigue as well. You know, they're all these programs are trying to enter the new landscape and define themselves as their own and find their own identity. And that's really Jim Christian's challenge at Canisius. With this new lineup, in this new landscape, in this new area / arena, what is Canisius' identity going to be? He's got to build that identity at Canisius.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was going to ask that question just kind of in terms of Canisius basketball on that college lexicon there. You mentioned some of those other schools like Buffalo and St. Bonaventure, Niagara. So what's the pecking order? Where are they in that pecking order in terms of, fan interest and the dynamic of coverage there?
It's hard to say right now. 6 years ago when I started at the Buffalo News, Buffalo was the team to beat with former Coach Nato, who's now at Alabama, led Alabama to
we know all about that. That's something we don't really want to remember here too much.
Well, I can tell you this. My husband's a Kansas graduate. He joked with me when I got on here. He said, "Oh, you're talking to another Big 12 rival here." So I know. So there's that. But then Nate left for Alabama. The tide sort of turned. St. Bonaventure, less than 3-4 years ago, had the Ironman 5. With guys like Kyle Lofton, with Oshuna Shuni, Jaron Holmes. There was this group, and they were the lock to win the Atlantic 10 and went to the NCAA tournament. Then went to the NIT the following year. Then NIL came in, and that whole lineup got busted up. And it's almost a rotating cast. Niagara, Greg Paulus, sixth, seventh year coming into the program. He's trying to build the culture there as well. So trying to rebuild it every year. And each one of these teams now, George Halkovich at Buffalo, who took over for Jim Weitzel, who took over after Nato. I feel like I need a flow chart here. It's hard because all these four teams are facing the same issues with the transfer portal, with NIL. They're having full roster turnover as well. If you look at Canisius' roster, they've got, 2 or 3 players, including Cam Palesi and David Maji, from last year's roster. They bring in X number of new transfers, whether it's from the Division 1 level or from the transfer portal, and maybe 1 or 2 freshmen. And it's scary because we're going to see this happening every year at almost every program. And that's the challenge that faces Jim as well. One of the things that coincided at Canisius was right when Jim was hired, right around that time, they announced a collective. And it was something, again, a lot of people weren't familiar with in the Canisius alumni and fan base and booster base as well. That's another one of Jim's jobs, is to do that, is to really, help educate the school and the program and even the players about it as well. We're all learning about it as we go also. But, Jim is really, really energetic and driven and ready to take on this new challenge, all encompassing, both on the court and in a way as an ambassador for the Canisius athletic program as well.
We're chatting with Rachel Lindsay from the Buffalo News. It's your scouting report for tonight's game between the Wildcats and Canisius. And today's scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. You mentioned the losses. 6 top scorers gone from last year's Canisius team. Also, you mentioned Cam Police is one of the main players back. Redshirt sophomore guard, averaged 7 points and 4 rebounds last season. What kind of player is Cam?
He's a spark plug. He was a guy who transferred in from Valparaiso, got injured his first season, get a chance to play a lot, and really kind of found his way into the lineup, found his groove as the season went on as well. And he was another guy who entered the transfer portal after the season. That happens, as you know, with a coaching change. A lot of players, a lot of people don't know what their role is. If they're going to have a spot on the team next year, should we test the waters? And that's totally within a player's power and right. But he was one of the people who came back and said, all right, let's get to work. Let's find a way to help this program as well, too. And one of the things, previously Canisius was more of a guard-heavy team, but when I look at their lineup and the people they brought in, I see Jazz Sangha, the forward who they brought in from Cal State Northridge and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I think we're going to see a little bit more brand of an up-tempo, more play inside game as opposed to just relying on the guards, being patient with the ball and looking for shots. I think they're going to be more of a productive shot. And I think Cam is going to be a really big part of kind of helping bridge that from, hey, let's get the guys from last year used to this new style, but let's bring these new guys in as well and adjust that style.
There you go. That's who are some of the other guys on this roster that Jim's going to be depending on to get this season started?
Paul McMillan, the fourth, guard from Central Michigan. He averaged about 8 points, a little more than 2 assists for the Chippewas last year. He's a transfer. You know, he's another guy who I think his style of play is going to translate very well into the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, which is a guard-heavy, work from the outside and go inside team as well, too. They've got another kid. He's kind of a little bit of a question mark, and not that I'm just saying we don't know a lot about him. There's an untapped thing, Johnny Thompson, a senior forward. He didn't play last year. He was originally one of Jim Christian's recruits at Boston College, then was at UMass 2 years ago as well, too. So we're going to see how he fits in as well. Also, they've got a couple junior college recruits. They've brought in some big inside size. Size is going to be a big deal for this team this year. They've got maybe a 6'8", 6'10" guys as well, too, where instead of, just adapting to that guard heavy style of play in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, it's, hey, let's try something new and different here. And you're going to see a lot more inside work from them as well.
Canisius is picked to finish near the bottom of the MAAAC. Is that you think they'll be better than that 12th place preseason selection in the coaches poll?
I think they will. I also think polls, especially as we've discussed before with the transfer portal, with the roster turnover every year, it almost feels like polls for every league I cover are a bit irrelevant nowadays, unless you're a team that returns a lot of the players as well. I just kind of look at them, and say, we look at St. Bonaventure. They were picked 10th in the 15-team Atlantic 10. We don't know how they're going to turn out. Almost every team is facing these same challenges as well, too. So, I kind of took the polls with a little bit of a grain of salt this year, knowing, hey, and things could happen. But I also think, for lack of a better term, it might serve as some good bulletin board for Canisius as well.
Hey, Rachel, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us, bringing us up to speed on what to expect from this Canisius Golden Griffin squad that's coming in here. Best of luck, continued success on your coverage of college basketball this season.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Rachel Lindsay with your scouting report for tonight's game.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE Eagle.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Are you facing plumbing problems and need a reliable solution? Whether it's a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, or an upgrade to a tankless water heater, Rightway has you covered. And for a limited time only, we're offering 10% off your next repair or installation. Don't let plumbing issues ruin your day. Call Rightway at 520-276-2775. We'll get a plumber to your door. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
I think 1 through 5 can switch everything. We're going to be aggressive on the ball, off the ball. We got, guys who can rebound the ball at a high level with Tobe, Trey, myself, and, Henry and Crevis. And, we got guards like me, Jaden, Caleb, and Deli who can, guard, and Carter who can guard the, the perimeter really well. So everybody on the team is, taking a step in a positive direction on the defensive side. So I think we're going to be a way better defensive team this year.
That's the sophomore KJ Lewis, 6'4", 205-pounder. He'll likely be in the starting lineup tonight for the first time. It's hard to believe that he didn't start a game last year. Jaden didn't start a game last year. They obviously all played a lot of minutes. KJ played 18 minutes last year, Jaden 20, but they will both be going into new territory with Caleb Love when they step into the starting lineup.
It's tough when you play the same position as a 4-year senior starter, right?
Yeah.
Pelle Larson wasn't coming off out of that starting lineup.
But KJ Lewis, 38 steals last year. That was tied for 9th by a U of A freshman in school history. You guys talked about how he gets out of bed defending the ball, and he likes what he's seen from this team defensively. Again, what a better defensive team for Tommy Lloyd across the board. What is that going to look like, you think?
I mean, Kelvin, they had Dalen Terry, Benedict Mathurin, and Christian Coloco on his first team, right? I mean, those are 3 guys who get after it defensively. It's so hard to, compare eras. But, yeah, to a man, I mean, I love the 3 guards defensively, especially like we talked about earlier. If Caleb steps into that role, play in, play out, Kelvin, and unproven. Some of the interior guys, Carter Bryant, known as a shot blocker, known as a defensive guy, still hasn't played at this level. Townsend coming up a level, but I really like this team defensively overall. Awaka, I mean, what's he like, 250? The 2 Twin Towers in there. There's a lot of potential, Kelvin, to be a great defensive team.
I like the depth, and I also like the difference where he can match up with different type of guys. Again, with a Walker, you can handle some of the more TCU type, Houston type athletic guys, and then you have the other big Crevis in those guys, and you can handle the Kansas big man type of fella. So I just think he has a lot of different bodies that he can use defensively against people. Brian is a guy that can play inside, but I think he's going to play more on the perimeter in the 3 role or whatnot. So there's a lot of interchangeable parts that they can use on that defense.
Going to need those bodies because Big 12 refs, guys. We've seen Pac-12 refs for about 30 years. Big 12 refs now.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about Toby Awaka, the transfer from Tennessee out of Hyde Park, New York. 6'8", 250-pound junior. He was really a double-double machine in the first 2 exhibition games, 13 points and 12 rebounds. And you heard Darren Sutton say in our interview earlier that he was one of the best offensive rebounders that Tennessee had in that lineup. Obviously, a lineup that went deep into the postseason last year for the Vols. So that's going to be another great advantage for this team. I mean, really, Carter Bryant says it very succinctly here. This team is deep.
I think we have 10 guys that can play anywhere else and a lot of guys that could start on any other college basketball team. So I think the biggest thing for me is just constantly learning and taking away things from the groups, because I've never been in a position where I've come off the bench before, so it's kind of gave me a different lens.
And we kind of joked about it earlier, but I guess if maybe there's, and I don't know if this is really a concern, but it could be, this is a roster with 20 guys.
Yeah. 20
guys. I don't know if I've ever seen a basketball team here in Arizona that had 20 players. What is that? Is that a dynamic that Tommy's going to have to manage having? I mean, again, most of those guys are walk-ons, but still, that's a lot of guys to have.
Hey, with those walk-ons, a lot of times you have a lot of boosters and different people you gotta,
Well, you got a coach's son, you got the AD's son, so there you go. That's two guys on the team right there. Grant Whiteman, right? Exactly.
Hey, if you're playing against some kind of full court press type of situation, Kelvin, and you need some scouts out there, better to pull one like a preferred walk-on or a guy who's played some ball more recently than a manager, that might not have been out there as recent.
Because Rhino used to be my teammate
That's
sometimes.
what he said. Yeah. He said that when we had him on a few weeks ago. It was like we got to a point where I had to come out there and dress.
How about you, DK? When you were a manager for USC, were you out there guarding Harold Miner?
No. No.
Yeah, we never had more than 2 walk-ons in my 2 years here in basketball. So you needed. I can understand a little bit. I just wonder, how do they travel? Do you travel
I don't
those
think,
guys?
No, I don't. I've been meaning that's a question I'm going to ask Tommy.
I think scholarship players travel, right?
I want to say 18.
Travel, we only had 2.
I want to say you can, because volleyball I think said they could travel 18. So I'm assuming basketball is probably going to be around the same, because there are going to be some guys that are going to have to stay home.
A couple guys
for sure. A couple guys are not going to be able to go. So we'll see how that all plays out. Trey Townsend says, we have a lot of guys, and amongst that we have a lot of shooters.
Yeah, I think we just have a lot of talented guys that can score from anywhere on the court. You got Henry, 7-footer, shooting threes all the way down to our guards, and our guards getting to the paint and finishing over big guys and getting and ones. So we just got a lot of offensive talent as well as defensive talent.
That's, I think, and we saw that just in the preseason, the number of guys that were hitting three-pointers. I think the first game there were 7 guys that knocked down three-point shots. That's going to give Tommy a lot to work with. In terms of this offense.
Space, Kelvin. Space.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. It's going to give the other teams a lot to think about more than anything, that they got to guard all those guys, which makes every one of those guys a more valuable threat for the team. So I think having that many guys that can shoot the ball just opens up other opportunities. But I'll say this, and I always say this: the team that gets the most layups is going to win. So I remember us getting on Caleb for taking a lot of the deep threes, because what I'm looking for him for is more paint touches.
Yeah.
I know he can shoot. I know he can shoot. I know he has a clip that he has an unlimited clip. I know that for a fact. But I want to see him get into the lane and make some things happen for himself and others.
All right, let's give you our keys to the game for tonight.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, before we get to our keys to the game, we'll come back to that. Let's go to our hotline and chat with the voice of Arizona women's basketball. Derek Palmer joins us for the first time this season on the heels of a 73-54 victory for the Wildcats over UT Arlen in their season opener, a doubleheader Monday night at McHale Center. Derek, top takeaways from game 1 of the season.
This is a really young team, and they're really trying to work some stuff out. You can see that especially on the defensive side, where they got into the penalty in the first 5 minutes of the game, and then I think committed 10 fouls.
Wow!
In the fourth quarter, where they're just young, man. I think it's easy to forget that they had 7 players on the roster last year, and 2 of them are seniors. So technically, just with a handful of returners, including Montea Du, who's been here for a while, but she's getting her first action. So there's just a lot of youth, a lot of new faces, and a lot of time trying to get used to each other.
Yeah, Montea Du played just 13 minutes, took only 1 shot, and she didn't really. Obviously, she missed the one game because she was sick and didn't really focus too much into the numbers in the first game. Is she coming on maybe a little bit slower than we thought?
I think it's way too early to say anything like that. There's just such a huge difference between the way that she is inclined to allow the game to come to her and the way that, say, Skylar Jones has turned into a player who's just always on the attack. So a lot of that's probably just getting used to, first of all these new faces and then the speed of the game. But I don't know if we could say anything about whether or not she's on schedule.
Jada Williams, 2 for 15 tonight, 10 points. What was kind of behind maybe some of the struggles there shooting the basketball?
She had some good looks. I mean, it just wasn't dropping, but like Adia pointed out after the game in our conversation, she was able to use her aggression to get 7 fouls drawn against UTA. So even when the shot's not falling for her, she's still doing a lot of things to try to force some action and get some good things happening.
So a couple of, obviously, we got some transfers on this roster. What are your initial impressions of, is it Sanaja? Is that how to pronounce it? Sanaja? Sanaya Ja. What are your, from South Carolina, what are your initial impressions of her?
She's athletic. She's also she's anxious to call her own number. Sometimes a little too aggressive, but she's willing to face up. She's willing to try to hit the three. She's willing to put in some double moves on the post. So she's willing to score at all 3 levels. It's just a little bit matter of remaining in control, I think, at this point.
Second most shots taken tonight, Sanaya Josh. She took 11. Jada had the most at 15. Paulina Paris, another transfer from North Carolina. What do we envision her role is going to be?
I think that her role was defined with the way that she was assigned to try and defend Coy Love for much of the ball game today, which she quite obviously gave up a few inches. And Love was wanting to start the offense about 20 feet away and try to use her strength to penetrate to the basket. And I couldn't believe how Paris defended her. She was able to stay in front, didn't necessarily give up anything because of the height disadvantage, and seemed like she was matching her strength-wise. So, I mean, it's everything that she's offering on the offensive side, that's exciting enough, but that she was able to take that defensive assignment against what just a year ago was a Pac-12 player, it was pretty encouraging.
I forgot, hey, the return of Coy Love. How about that?
That's right.
Her fourth school, the one-time Arizona Wildcat, that goes back to 2022. When she was here, coming over from Vanderbilt and spent the last 2 years at USC, didn't play last year. Now finishing her career at UTA. I forgot when you said that name. I'm like, wait a minute, Coy Love, didn't she play here? Yeah, she had 20 points tonight. Led them in scoring, 7 of 15 from the floor. All right, give me your top 2 things that you think are going to drive this team this year, Derek.
When Brea Cunningham picked up her second personal in the first quarter, it was kind of like, oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But then she was able to navigate the rest of the second half, she made some spectacular defensive plays, both like picking up some blocks, but also adjusting shots without losing any of her verticality, nowhere near allowing the officials an inch to try to call a foul on her. So if she is able to defend like that, I think that's really behind all the perimeter players patrolling the paint. That's going to open up an awful lot of aggression on the outside. The other thing is just making some shots. You know, the 3-point shot continues to seem to be a little bit of a mystery.
And we got 4 games in an 8-day stretch coming up. Tarleton State Thursday, Sunday at San Diego, and then back for UNLV on Tuesday night. Derek, looking forward to conversing with you throughout the season.
Hey, it's always fun, DK.
All right, Derek Palmer. You can hear all the women's games again back this year on Freedom 1400. Let's dive into our keys to the game. I'll let you go first, Calvin. Keys to the game tonight.
Defense rebounding. I'm sorry. Established defensive intensity. I think in the first game you want to come out and make sure that you come out with a tough defensive presence so everybody understands that that's how you're going to earn your minutes. Really dominate the backboards. It's a small team, inexperienced team. You want to dominate the backboards. Don't even give these guys a chance to get an offensive rebound. They should run back on defense and not even try to get an offensive rebound today. And then be unselfish on the offensive end of the basketball court. I mean, pass the ball, let the ball get to the open guy. The open guy take the shot, board, and just play from there.
All right, I'm going to say, obviously, Jaden Bradley, first start as the point guard at Point Guard U, and I want to see I said last year, I believe the reason I like him is because he can get to the line, so I want him to continue to be able to do that. 8 free throws is kind of like what I'd like to see from him nightly from the line there, and as well as, I want to see how he facilitates for this offense. How he can dish and get everybody else involved. That wasn't necessarily something we saw a lot. Mention the numbers, just 2 assist average last year. Obviously, that's something that needs to come up closer to 4 or 5, which is what we saw in the preseason. So definitely want to see him be able to facilitate. And I'll agree with you as well. Defend. If this is the best defensive team that, as we heard, who was it that Carter Bryant said, or I'm sorry, Jaden Bradley said that it was, then let's see that defense on display from night one tonight.
Yeah, I think it's real simple. When you got an overmatched team like this, you want to be clean, and especially first game. So I'd like to see 10 or 12 or less turnovers. So less than 12 turnovers for the team. Like Kelvin said, you got to dominate the glass. You got to go in there with purpose. 10 to 15 rebounding margin at least. And I'd like to see some guys get in who maybe we haven't really seen much in the Arizona uniform. So, it's clearly going to be a bit of a lopsided score. I'd like to see some of the new guys, maybe 8 to 10, depending on Krivas' health and how that works out. But I'd like to see a pretty deep tonight because guess what, guys? It's going to come fast and hard. There's going to be serious games right around the corner. So getting as many guys comfortable in that Arizona uniform as possible tonight is a good step in the right direction. Those are my keys versus Canisius.
All right, guys, we will talk to you on the post-game show. Let's give you your starting lineup for tonight.
The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
It's a 3-guard lineup for Mr. Tommy Lloyd. Jaden Bradley gets his first start for the Wildcats. 6'3", 200-pound junior out of Rochester, New York, was 13 of 28 from 3 last year. Caleb Love, 6'4", 205, fifth-year senior out of St. Louis, Missouri, is a preseason first-team All-American AP. At the other guard, K.J. Lewis, the sophomore, 6'4", 210 out of El Paso, Texas, 69 assists to 30 turnovers last year as a freshman. Your forwards, Trey Townsend, transfer, fifth year out of Oakland, Michigan, scored over 1,800 points at that particular school, 6'6", 235. And Toby Iwaka, 6'8", 250 out of Hyde Park, New York, shot 59% from the floor the last 2 seasons. That's going to wrap up Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. For Calvin Efon, J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly. It's coming up next, Arizona and Canisius tip-off at 8 o'clock. We'll talk to you after the game. Bear down, Arizona.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call